Hey you, I'm the Queen of Shade. Welcome to the interview. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit my Cash App to support your favorite content creator. Now let's get to the interview. Mwah.
I can think about a million reasons why you need to burn in hell. You're a liar and a cheater, a con artist telling tales. Been rejected, disrespected, boy, your abuse never fails. I'm so done, boy, really done, boy, now I'm staying to myself. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. So stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic. I'm so stoic.
Salutations, Stupos. This is your fabulous leader, the Queen of Shade, coming to you with another special presentation. Moving full speed ahead, talking to people from all over the world. It has been an amazing experience. And having said that, I have two people that you need to meet today, very special people. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce them. Our first guest, her name is Kristen Picot. She is the Senior Vice President of North American Specialist Programs for the Courtney Jordan Foundation. And then our gentleman is former mayoral candidate for Siler City, Nicholas Gallardo. I think I said that right, but we'll get to it. Both of these wonderful people have in common that they are the chairs for Prosperity, North Carolina. Please welcome Kristen and Nick.
Thank you for having us.
Hi.
Thank you.
Nicholas, say your name again for me.
My full name is Nicholas Antonio Gallardo.
Okay, I did get it, Gallardo. I just wanted to make sure I got it. So how are you guys today?
We're doing great. We're doing great. We're doing a lot of work. We just, we just got off of one election. We're working with that. And I just want to say thank you for having us on. This is such a pleasure. And I want to say also a special thank you to Dietrich Howell as well. I know that he's going through some mental health things, but we as a company support mental health. We support definitely being in tune to that. And again, thank you. It's a big special thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a little nervous to get on here. I know that you have a pretty big following and I've heard a lot of good things about you.
I thank both of you. You know, it's so crazy because as you said, you're doing work. When you're in the midst of the work, you don't realize how monumental it is. You don't realize how powerful it is or how impactful it will be. So I'm like a horse. I kind of have blinders on and I'm doing my race. I'm running my race and I'm like, don't say anything to me until it's over, but I'm starting to realize, no, it's a big deal. Yeah. I'm so blessed for it because
that's where we are too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm blessed for it because, Dietrich Howell, Dietrich Howell and I have been chatting about this since August. It is now December. He took some time off, I remember, for mental health reasons. And of course, we support that over here as well with me living with bipolar type 1, PTSD and acute anxiety disorder myself, and having had 16 years of therapy. So I definitely understand and I'm empathetic to his, situation. But I just wanted to thank him right now because he's the reason through correspondence that I have you two lovely people sitting in front of me. And it's kind of weird how it happened because this is how it happened. I was online and Kristen, I saw a video that you did and you were talking about, being in North Carolina and Siler City, and you were basically talking about the racism and the discrimination against women. And there was just so much going on. And it just wasn't okay with me. And I remember that I commented underneath the post and I said, listen here, This is not acceptable. First thing you should do is file a harassment suit, get a restraining order. Like, I just started laying down things, and I'm just so glad that so many other people also had the same sentiments as I did, because, you know, you sent me the article earlier, and it said that you had filed. And, you know, I was reading the article. I'm going to be honest. I was reading the article, and the newspaper, they just didn't seem to have your best interest at heart. If you understand what I'm saying, you know, I have to shoot from the hip there, because as I'm reading, I was learning the information, and I've been on all day, you know, just learning, making sure we would have a really good conversation, and that I did my homework. But as I read, the article it called into question so many of your actions.
I want to say thank you for giving me the advice to do the restraining order. And I know one of your followers reached out to you as well to make it aware that this was going on. And again, a big thank you to him as well. And I took your advice for that, and I did. And you know, it was appalling to me. You know, I did the restraining order also in part because it's not just me that went through this. You know, yes, Alec Hauser stalked and harassed me, but like the reason why, when I made that post online, it got attention from a young Hispanic girl, about 10 years old. And on my TikTok video, she commented on it. I don't know if you were able to see that, but she commented saying basically that this is why she didn't want to be a girl. She didn't want to be a girl anymore. This is why she didn't want to be a girl. She knew this was going to happen to her because it's happened to her sister. Her sister's being stalked and harassed as we speak. Her cousin's been sexually assaulted in the local high school's bathroom by 2 football players, and nothing was done because, again, she's Hispanic, and they're afraid because there are ICE raids that happen. And so, and I say that to say, and, you know, my restraining order, the tabloid is what I call it, they put my date and my hearing in the newspaper. And to me, that was just deplorable. And also it made me honestly scared and on advice to counsel. I didn't go to I ended up saying, you know what, I couldn't do it. I was emotionally, and you're talking about mental health. I like had a breakdown.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it because I knew that they were going to be there and they were going to be harassing me. And I knew that again. And so again, but like, about that young girl, that's the reason why another reason why I did it too, because I knew that as an adult, I can shine light on these issues because they're going to keep happening, and they keep happening. I still get messages to this day, and it's sorry.
Yeah, I think you're setting a good example for young women out there, no matter what they're going through.
Yeah.
I'm taking a moment. It's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. I'm processing this because this is what got me involved. This is why I commented. This is why I was so eager to talk to both of you, because I too am a pioneer. I am a Black man. I'm not transgendered. I'm a part of the LGBTQIAP plus diaspora, but I am very much a trans illusionist. I've been a cross-dresser since I was 8 years old, and I've had this voice since I was a child. And I too understand what it's like to be bullied for things that you can't change about yourself. Things that you, if you could, you would, to fit in, to not be bullied and badgered. But thank God, you can't change them. And I'm living proof that if you continue to live the very things that you were bullied about, the very things that make you different, can one day be the thing that sets you apart, can one day be the thing that makes the world embrace you. And I want to stay there for a moment, Kristen, and I want to say this. I know that they put your date of your hearing in the tabloids, and I thought that was deplorable myself, because I'm not going to lie, I also read, and the sheriff was very nonchalant. He wasn't trying to help as well. And, you know, as a reader, I'm just reading this and I'm just sensing all of this. And I never received a report, or, I never did this and all that. And I'm like, but there's a date, there's a court date. So obviously someone did. This is what I was saying to myself. But even in your breakdown, I said it when I initially commented. Restraining orders in a lot of places, especially for women, they don't respond on the offense. They respond as a defense. It's kind of like after something bad happens, then it's, we didn't see this coming. And it's like, but I told you I was being harassed. I told you that I was being bullied. I told you that I feared for my safety. I'm saying this to you because after you are in a mental place, in a position where you can make that appearance, I need you to make that appearance. And what I need you to do is and this is the thing, because I've experienced this too. Like, I came from the bottom. I started on the bottom. My family lived in the projects. My grandmother became a master's degree level teacher, and she's the reason I moved to the suburbs and was no longer being bullied in the city. So I come from the bottom. So I know what it's like to be the first of your kind to do something. And I also know that once you can stomach it, you have to see it through, because the point of the hearing and the point of the restraining order is a paper trail. That's all it is. Because literally, once you do that, I also suggested self-defense. That was something else I also suggested in there, self-defense courses and things like that. But what I also can suggest, because I have a friend who does present, his company puts presents in corporate America and businesses, armed guards and things like that. Look into those things as part of the solution as well. If the police won't help you, then you have to help yourself, because I do not want to open my phone and read a tragedy. I don't want to do that. Especially
thank you. And again, I want to say is thank you for using your celebrity voice to bring light to this issue as well, because I'm telling you, with the people, like the friends, I've gotten messages to say that they have friends all the way at the county level. They literally have followed me home. They've literally have followed my parents home, try to push them off the road. Like, it's to the point, and I know, and the sad thing is, again, and I go back to this young girl, I know there's other instances too. I know I'm not the only one. And that's why a main thing with too as well is with the Prosperity North Carolina is one of our women's initiative for empowerment, is because it's so crucial. Like you said, it's easier. It's not easier. It's sometimes I just want to put my blanket over my head when I wake up in the morning and be like, no, it's okay. We can just stay in bed today. Because again, I keep getting these messages. And I literally got the messages the other day, you need to move. You need to leave. Because they've done this before, right? They've done this with the Hispanic population. They've done this with people of color. They've done this with you get messages.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got messages whenever I first filed to run, and they have not stopped since then. I believe the most recent message I got was a few days ago. A lot of them attacked me because of my heritage. I'm Hispanic, obviously, and they tried to strip me of that. This same tabloid that put Kristen's restraining order date, they also called me a white man. And I don't identify as that. I'm Hispanic. I believe in my roots and where I come from. And that's very important to me. And it's trying to, fight against those things. People also making homophobic remarks to me as well. And I couldn't understand why people were just attacking me. I'm just trying to better my community. And, at the time it was very difficult for me and for everybody that was receiving these messages. And I hope I can be an example for anybody, especially younger, that's going through something similar like this, that you could rise above this and you can defeat this with success. And that's why that we're doing what we're doing and speaking to people like yourself.
Yes.
You know what it is, because I saw the video, Nick. I saw the video of your girlfriend. She came on and she was talking about the hate and all that you were receiving and still receiving. I saw that on YouTube. My question to both of you
Yeah,
because
I
it's like it's looming. So I'm going to ask this question to both of you, and you can answer it any way that you want. Why Siler City? Why are you guys so focused on Siler City? I need you to tell me because I read some things, but I want to know why. Because obviously you're not leaving. So you're not leaving. So why Siler City? Please.
Yeah. And so the reason I've lived here for almost 2 years now, and I moved out here. I originally lived in Raleigh, and I moved out here because it was best for my situation. And I got to know the people that lived here, and it's a very tight knit community. And I was embraced. You know, everybody here was very receptive of me, and I just noticed immediately that there was a lot of issues here. And I'm the type of person whenever I care about people, I fight for them, and I advocate for them. I've always been like that with my family, you know, and you know, me being a straight man, I've always been like that for any girlfriend that I've dated, things of that nature. And so I just saw people getting mistreated and taken advantage of, and I couldn't stand for that. And it used to make my skin crawl. It still does, because I know there's people that are suffering and that deserve better. And I wanted to be that person that would bring opportunities and equality and make sure everybody felt comfortable. You know, who wants to, you know, have a family and, you know, their children go to school in fear? You know, things that happen to Kristen, that should not happen to people. And so we are just both the type of people that we see a problem and we want to fix it.
And so, you know, I'm senior vice president for the Courtney Jordan Foundation for North American Special Programs. And so we're a foundation, we've been around for 10 years and we're in like 7 different countries. You know, we were in North Carolina about 6 years ago, and we were in Durham, and we did a whole bunch of stuff with the youth there, Durham Youth Alliance, etc. And one of the big thing with the Courtney Jordan Foundation is that we attack issues at a systematic level with pretty much bringing like entrepreneurship to the area, right? So with the war on poverty, the best way to do, in our opinion, to fight it is to bring opportunities. And opportunities, you don't have to go to college. You don't have to, you know, pretty much you don't have to have a degree, but we provide opportunities if someone has an idea, and it could be the inception of an idea, or it could be later on down the road, or it could have a tweak. We give opportunities for those entrepreneurs through seed funding, through development, education, whatever. As long as they have ambition, we will be there and to support them throughout the whole entire process so they can be successful and also bring jobs, resources to the area. And so that was the intention here. You know, I'm from Greenville, North Carolina myself. I was born there, and I was in Raleigh. I went to school there for I was in school for a long time. I got my master's, all that stuff. And I've been in Raleigh for about like 12 years now. And through that, like, I just love North Carolina. And so when this opportunity came up, we looked at rural North Carolina, because that is something close to my heart. Growing up in Eastern North Carolina, like near Gates County, all of that, there's a lot of need. And I knew throughout my time working in Raleigh, that in the surrounding areas, in Chapel Hill, that there was a lot of need in rural North Carolina in that area. And so, you know, Siler City, I had been through it before because, you know, just driving through, and I knew that there was definitely a place to build and to have an accelerator. And, you know, that was our intention, is to have that.
Yeah. You know, you guys talked about the systemic racism that's there, and just of all different things. Because, you know, even Nick, you said, you know, this is a close-knit community. This is a community, you know, that is pretty warm. So my question is, okay, if this is a close-knit community and it's warm and embracing, who are these people that are doing the harm? Like, where are these people from? Are they Siler City constituents as well?
So I also ended up here because my brother also knew the area well as well, and he's also received messages, and through that, we'd say that it's not the people of Siler City, it's the elite, right? There's a handful of people, that things have been going the way that they've been going. They've been using the town that they want to use it, right? And the people that, you know, need resources have been kind of forgotten or ignored. And so
yeah, I mean, I could add on to that, because basically whenever you come to Siler City, you see that there's a lot of issues, right? And you ask, well, why a lot of people don't understand that these are things that can be addressed on a local government level. And so that's ultimately why I ran for office. And, whenever you look into things, like I just read recently that South City's been fined $236,000 over the last 6 years due to water and the quality and the pollution, things like that. There's an article of it. I could send it to you so you can look at it, but it's just mismanagement. And you see that there's very few people here that get opportunities to succeed, while the rest, have to scrap for the rest. And so it's really unfortunate that that's the situation here.
Yeah. So like also I know of one situation where I was working with a Hispanic member of the community, a business owner, and he had applied for resources during the pandemic, grants, stuff like that the town gets, and he was told that he didn't qualify for it. There's multiple instances of that. There's multiple instances of literally, like, I've been told by a Hispanic leader in the community that a neighborhood was basically blocked because it was a Hispanic neighborhood, and they blocked the entrance and the exit out of it, and they were checking IDs. And there's these instances of like that. And when, the residents of that neighborhood found that out, and they were like, oh, we still have to get out to get our kids. We have to, go to the doctor. They found another exit entrance, and then they blocked that. So, I mean, the cases of this is just.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Hispanic thing or a white thing.
No, it's just
it's everybody. I mean, I've spoken to a leader in the Black community here, and she wanted to apply for a grant to get art. What was it? Art
installed to commemorate
just applying for materials to identify and recognize the Black excellence or the history of Black excellence in South City. And she asked for a very, very small amount of money, and it was denied. And whenever you see things like that, you just realize that okay, this is not what a certain group of people want. And that's what we're fighting against. We feel like you should be embraced for your culture, your history, everything. And there should be no holdbacks on that.
Yeah, exactly.
As I'm sitting here, I'm listening, and, I'm looking at, a lot of things that, the Courtney Jordan Foundation and all these other great foundations that you guys are affiliated with. I'm looking at what is promised and what has been promised. And I was very impressed when I read, where is it? I read that part of an initiative was to kind of, hit the war on drugs and poverty and stuff like that. And there was over $100 million promised to build the community. And I'm like, that's no small sum or feat. And my thing is when you have heavy hitters that come in like that, usually there aren't people that oppose that because it reinvigorates the area. I saw that there was an initiative, there were grants being given to people.
Yeah. They really tried to, the local tabloid really tried to twist the words and everything. Solid City qualifies for a lot of grant money. I worked with grant writers to see what was available here. And it really, whenever you look into it, it will shock you how much they qualify for. But, once again, that's one of the examples of, misconstruing information, taking things, twisting them, and trying to, make them sound almost not reasonable. And, that's one thing that, we suffered with here, just by trying to simply do the right thing. There's certain people, the elite people that, don't want things to change. They don't want other people to prosper. And I think that that's really unfortunate. I think it's very selfish. And I think it's an old way of thinking. And I think we need more young people involved in our communities to make sure that we have a safe environment for them. I mean, we're changing. Things aren't the same way they used to be as the 50s and 60s. We have new values here now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. And I agree with you, Kristen, because, we can't stay in the past. I'm a living proof that you evolve, you grow, you must. This is all very sad because what's worse is the fact that you guys do amazing work. I've been reading. Kristen, you got, I was looking at your IMDb. You've got things that you've done. The Wish that came out 2022, lead producer on The Wish, Park Lines, U-Shape. Like, you guys are doing terrific work. And what it sounds like to me is that your protection is not going to come from outside. You guys are going to have to, protect yourselves. Because if Siler is the city that you guys want to do this in, then you're going to have to take extreme measures. And when I say that, like I said, self-defense, like you need armed gunmen at your locations. You need armed security at your locations. It needs to be put in the budget, because literally, I know too, it's so funny how I got started. I started years ago. I'm 40 years old now. I just turned 40 in September, but I started in the entertainment industry at 19.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I started 19 in Paris, France. I was a fashion model. So, I was androgynous, and I was everything that they thought I was and needed to be. And I was everything that I thought I needed to be. And, mental illness kind of had to help, put a stop on, or a damper on that career. But I still, through my resiliency, managed to swing back around and capture my career. And, I saw that there were initiatives to get people to move to Siler. I saw that, and the newspaper, I just really, I don't want to say their name, but I just really, I didn't really like their tone. I have to be honest, I didn't like their tone. They were providing information, but it was in a very sardonic way. And I'm just like, okay. So then I had to look other places. Like, that's what happened. So I looked up who Courtney Jordan was. I looked up, just different things. Can you please tell me because both of you are chair for Prosperity North Carolina. What's that about? What is that geared to? Who does that service? Who does that help?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that. So we actually are launching a brand new initiative. It's called Project Open Door, and this is actually something that's very near and dear to my heart. So we have worked with in-house counsel and a few local law firms, and what we will be doing is every single year, and for the foreseeable future, we will be naturalizing 100 undocumented people in the state of North Carolina, specifically 60 in Chatham County, 20 in Alamance, and 20 in Nash County. And so the reason we are doing this is because we feel that not only is the Hispanic population underrepresented when it comes to local politics, but they have been stripped of their voice. And so this is our way to give them their power back, let their voices be heard, and, not live in fear anymore. I mean, that's just a basic thing that so many people take for granted. And I don't want that to be a thing. I want to be the person that sets an example, so that way I can give people their freedom.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I read somewhere that you guys had 4 candidates up in this election. There were 4, and none of them got the bid. They were all cheated out of the bid. Is that true?
They won. All 4 won. Okay. We have Mike Robinson, the Chatham County Sheriff, and then we have Ted, U.S. Senator, a Republican, and Senator Natalie Murdoch is North Carolina Senate Democrat. Robert Reeves, Representative Robert Reeves was North Carolina Democrat.
It's something that you don't see very often. But we supported a bipartisan slate, and the reason for that being is I don't believe in left or right. I believe in the right person for the job, and people all had policies that greatly represented rural North America. Things. I mean, I'm sure I was dumbfounded whenever I found out that there's women that don't have access to feminine hygiene products here.
My gosh,
it's ridiculous. And so that broadband issues, there's a lot of things that they address that we think are going to help a lot of people here. And, we're willing to do anything within our power to make sure that, they represent them well and hold up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, exactly. So my work with the school system, especially here, is that, we had situations where, parents couldn't afford, feminine hygiene products for their kids, and the teachers would supply them. And, we actually had a situation, a young entrepreneur in the school actually started a program, a young girl, to actually take donations and so, like basically tie ribbons on their book bags to let them know like, hey, if you need something, we have it for you, you know, and the teachers themselves are providing products as well. But again, this is something that, I mean, I think that, you know, no one should ever, you know, no one should ever have to go and have, you know, accidents in school or ever feel like, you know, soiled or, you know, anything like that. That's just not good. You know, to me, that's a right to have, that you should be able to have access to feminine hygiene products.
You two are some very, very courageous humanitarians. And very courageous humanitarians. And I must admit that you both have patience, a patience that I have never known, because it's just like, my gosh, like you literally, I know what that's like to have to walk into a community and literally half the community is poor. And you have to you become financially responsible. And that's the thing that people don't understand. That's a big thing. You know, we look at our world and we look at all that's going on out here and we say, oh, there's a difference between, you know, upper class to middle class to this, that, and the other. And the only difference is money, currency. That's it. That's the only thing that separates. Oh, you're in a different tax bracket, or oh, you're into this, into that. Well, if you're poor, you're not exactly learning what middle class to upper middle class are learning in school. You know, there's so many discrepancies that I see and I hear, that they're just so that, like, it's just so much. But I love that we are still focusing on the fact that you guys are still doing so much work, so much good work. And as I was listening, I can hear the majority of the discrimination is against the Hispanic community, the Latin community. My goodness. So tell me.
It's also people of color treated horribly.
Oh, okay. So I was going to ask if there were people of color there, because I didn't.
Yeah, so 50% Hispanic, and then about close to almost 28% people of color. And so in a lot of, like we were talking about earlier, someone in the community who was trying to get a mural made. You know, you have situations where the roads and the predominantly that the neighborhoods, like they flood. Like they don't take care of the drainage system there. They flood, and they've had issues with that as well. There's holes in homes, and there's like kids that I literally went to a meeting where the kids, they couldn't even have access to broadband internet, especially during COVID. Like kids just didn't go to school, you know. And to me, like the internet where we are, we're in downtown, and we on a cloudy day, our internet goes out. So I can only imagine, you know, it's to me, and it's not just the Hispanic community. It's pretty much, again, it's almost if you're not in the elite, you're pretty much cast to the side.
Yeah, so. I mean, and it's not something that's hidden either. No. This is very blatant.
Yeah.
So if you go look at the YouTube, and you could see, you know, where they have the city hall meetings and things of that nature, they are planting a concrete plant in Santa City, and it is right next to a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And you have two board members, you know, I believe it's the mayor and a commissioner. The commissioner is an attorney, and he was saying, you know, well, there's going to be a huge issue with the noise. You know, they could potentially sue us personally. And then the mayor has the audacity to say, well, are they really going to do that? Can they afford to sue us?
They can't do it, basically.
And so that's a huge liability. It's a slap in the face. You know, like, hey, we know we have more power than you, and we're going to hold above your head. We're going to take it in front of you. And that truly bothers me.
And in that same meeting, I think it was that meeting or the meeting after, you know, one of the commissioners, Cindy Bray, she's a woman on the town board. And she was mayor-elect for a bit, and then was pushed out by the board. You know, she disagreed with some things, and you know, but pretty much is, you know, they kind of silenced her in a way, which I think is great. You know, I just, oh gosh, it's so.
Wow.
I think as a woman, I just don't understand how we keep getting silenced in today's era. I just don't, and I don't mean great. I mean, like, just like, I just don't understand it in today's era why we are getting silenced by a group of men. And to me, that's deplorable. And that's what's happening, especially with Cindy Gray. She stands up for the people and she fights for the people, and she's continuously silenced. In this past meeting, the gavel was basically banged on her when she was talking, like when she was talking to silence her. And they like just, you know, they disrespect her.
Yeah.
So
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I believe she was the first female mayor of Solid City. She was mayor pro temp, I believe.
yes.
And she was the first, and there was no. It was like, oh, okay, like there was no celebration
No
or
recognition.
anything. I mean, that's an amazing barrier to break.
Yes.
Especially for on a city level.
Yes.
I mean,
Wow. It's
yeah,
it's very
First elected in 100 years. Yep. Sorry. We're first elected.
wow. You know, I'm a Northerner, and I hate to say this, but this is why I don't trust the South. I don't trust the South, and it's not the people of the South, because I have many people that are amazing, but there's so many laws and there's so much legislation that we just do not even realize are still on the books, old laws and old things that allow people to get away with this kind of behavior. Because see, you know, the number one thing that you do when you encounter a big boys club and they're doing deplorable acts to a city or to, you know, to a borough or something like that, you hit them with the media. You expose it in the media. That is exactly what you do, because they don't want the press heat. They don't want that to be a situation. They don't want all eyes to be turned on Siler City. But that is actually what will get these, you know, your initiatives going, is more and more media, you know, listening to your story and pushing your story out and literally getting people to understand that this affects the entire country. This is the entire country. You know, this is it's just not right. I've been discriminated against my entire life, you know, and it's like, you know, to aspire to a level where it still happens, but you don't hear about it anymore. You know, I'm the last to know now. It still bothers me that there are still people that when it happens, they're on the ground and they hear about it immediately. Okay.
And just to clarify earlier, the 4 candidates that we at Prosper, North Carolina endorsed that were running for office, all of them won. When
Okay.
I ran there, me and the people that ran with me, we did not win. And this was
That's what it was. That's what I read.
Yeah, result of being attacked, you know. And then I don't think people realize that, you know, the media, you know, all medias have some influence. You know, some are very little. And sources, the one here, it's very little. Some are bigger. And, you know, in most towns, you know, that's how a lot of people get their information. But you have to remember that this is a predominantly, you know, Hispanic community, and they don't really put information out there. They put information out quarterly for Hispanic readership. And so my running mate is actually the president, and there is another newspaper in town now, Chatham Weekly, and this is designed to put out the truth. I think the saying's truth at last. You know, we're here. This is the truth. This is what you should expect, and this is for everybody. You know, not just, you know, the people that speak English, everybody that can read it. So the first front page will be in English, the back will be in Spanish, and I think it's going to be getting to 30,000 homes. And if I'm not mistaken, there's only 34,000 homes in Chatham County as a whole. So everybody will be getting this information.
Yeah, I saw something about, you know, even your organizations were hiring for, you know, people to, you know, deliver papers and do different things like that. Was that true? Because that was in the paper, but I don't know what's true, because you don't know what to believe. They said that you guys there was an initiative to deliver papers, and it gave like months of meetings. Yeah, it gave like a number, you know, a salary that they would be receiving and things like that. You know, everybody, you know what's so crazy? I think I'm starting to realize something. I think that these papers are listing the dollar amounts because they want the bigwigs to know just how much money they need to throw at it to make it go away.
Are you talking about so Startup Siler, how much the Startup Siler was going to give when we were, I have a $20 million budget.
Yep.
Okay. So that is what we have. And, that was initiatives with the entrepreneurship, with the schools, with the code school, all of that. And, we had to adapt as with anything we've had roadblocks, etc. But they conflated, again, they lumped me in because my brothers ran for office. And of course, again, as a woman, I guess, as a woman, I'm an independent person. I have my own ideas and my own thoughts, and my brothers don't dictate what I do. My family doesn't dictate what I do, and I'm separate from them. But they lumped me in with them. And so they basically took what I did and they were like, and then they just melded it together and made it very confusing.
They did. They really did. And that's horrible when outlets that are supposed to give you the truth, outlets that are supposed to tell you they're against you, because literally the entire article, they were against you guys. Like literally, I read it and I'm like, so I was picking and I'm like, okay, let me ask about this and let me ask about that. But literally the entire article needed to be trashed because it just really was not.
So it conflated the promises from when I was from when like my budget, what I did with Startup Siler, all of my initiatives with what they were doing, what they were running with, etc. To the point that the whole entire community ended up looking at us differently. And we had people that would come up and be interested in starting with our accelerator and all that stuff. I had a member of the Hispanic community reach out to me for helping with a young woman, 19-year-old Hispanic woman who was going to die. And they needed help with funds for aftercare. And I said, you know what? I talked to my people. I talked to us. I was like, okay, look, we have it. We can do it. And so we pledged $250,000 for aftercare. And I went to call her, text her, reach out to her, and they just ghosted me. And I was like, I really need to talk to you. This is important. I have an update. We need to get this going. This is important. And unfortunately, that young lady died. She died in July. She passed away. And this is just one instance of many where it's just now I'm continuously getting blocked because of the tabloid and what they have said and how they conflated and they spread misinformation and they used a hate group for resources online, all this stuff. And to me, it's I don't understand because I know who I am and I know what I'm doing. I know I have good intentions and I know that I just want to help the community. And I'm not trying to, if people don't want it, they don't want it. They don't have to take it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to push it on anyone. But my thing is don't prevent the people that need help and that want to get help and want to reach out and need it from getting help that they need. Because I have resources, And so that's where we're at, where people are dying because of this tabloid. And I don't get that.
Do you think that the people, I want to ask her a question real quick. Do you think that the people that like this young woman, do you think they're being leaned upon and threatened?
So I was in communication with the middle person between them. And so I was never in communication with the family. And I truly know this because they ended up talking to someone else and it is hearsay. But the reason why that they say that they can't trust us, the middle people can't trust us, that basically they don't know what we're doing, that we're basically, and they cited what the tabloid has said and what that article has said is the reason that they didn't trust us enough to call back or respond to my messages or anything like that.
Yeah, because the tabloid wanted to call your organization mysterious. Yeah, it's not. Okay, so my thing is this. I'm a plan of action type of girl. So that's why I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I'm like, okay, well, you're already doing what you need to do because you're already contacting media outlets outside of Siler. See, that's what's going to do it, because the more media outlets hear about it outside of Siler, the pressure is going to be pushed onto them. Like, okay, what's going on down here? I would really like this story. It just needs to be.
Know what's going on in this area. I mean, there was a real live slave auction at a school in Chatham County. Yes, and people don't know that. They don't realize that. They think it's just a Siler City issue. This is a Chatham County issue. There is racism embedded in this county, and people people outside that live in the surrounding areas are like, oh yeah, sausage. Oh, yeah,
At
don't go there.
at a school, Nick.
It was basically a mock slave trade that happened at the school. And I mean, you can look it up. It's online. This isn't hidden anywhere. I mean, these are just things that you find out about, and you're like, wow, like that is.
They literally auctioned off a child, like other children auctioned off a child.
And you wonder, like, where would they even get the thought to do this? You know, and it tells you that this is like kind of how people are growing up in this area.
And I haven't heard of any punishment as of today. Like nothing has happened because of that. And also, we're also in the area that they had David Duke. They had a welcoming for David Duke in 2000.
Oh yeah, here in Siler City.
Yeah, here in Siler City. So
Yeah, I mean, what was the other one? There was a soul food. I believe it's soul food restaurant.
About 2 years ago, there was a restaurant, and it was a soul food restaurant. Yes, they received threatening letters with racial slurs and just horrendous messages, and they were pushed out of town. And like again, I keep getting I literally got messages saying like, hey, you need to leave, why haven't you left? They saw that I did an interview recently, and they're like, oh, you're spreading lies, we're gonna get you, and all this stuff. And they threatened to rape me, they threatened to tell my daddy on me, to say that I'm in trouble. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, why this is not okay. Like, this is never okay. This is just not okay. And I know, again, you get it. I know that that restaurant got it. We're not, I'm not the only person. I know that. And that's why we're here. And that's why Prosperity North Carolina is here too. And Project Open Door. Yeah. That's why we're here.
And it took me, I had to reflect to realize that, there are some people that aren't as strong-willed as other people. And some people can't take that. I mean, that's a very stressful, if people are threatening your life just because you want to open a business or a restaurant because you're passionate about it. And just because simply the color of your skin, that you receive death threats and racist letters in the mail and things like that, it's ridiculous, and it's just, it really upsets me, and I understand that, I may be more strong-willed than other people, and I could take the heat, it's not really, I mean, they text me and I'm just like, but
whatever. It still like gets to you on a personal level. Like, I know that they sent you horrible messages.
Oh yeah, so a lot of people don't know this, I'm very closed off when it comes to my family. I have my business life and I have my personal life. And, I'm a very family oriented person. And so they would send me messages about my disabled sister who has Down syndrome.
How do they know these things? How do they know these things, Nick?
Yeah, I'm assuming they just see on my social media, like I care about my sister, I have pictures of her on my Instagram, obviously I have a very uncommon last name, so they could look and they could find people that are related to me. And, so whenever you go on my social media, you see, I have a post from my sister congratulating her on her birthday and telling her that, I wouldn't be who I was today if it wasn't for her. She's my big sister, but I'm her older brother. And we have a very good relationship. And for them to just turn around and send me messages of disabled people getting tormented in basements and, have chains tied around them and say, is this what you do to your sister? It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't stand for it. And they're lucky. I mean, nobody says this type of stuff to my face. I'm that type of person. If you got something to say, you can come say it to me. But, I know that they're very beta and they won't do that. They're too busy sitting behind their phone on their little Twitter fingers and stuff. So, obviously you can tell that gets me amped up. And I don't take too
long. Rightly so, though, because, it's rightly so. But at the same time, because I want to address you, Kristen. I want to say this to you. Whenever you go to talk about, what's happening to you, the injustices as a woman, yes, you're not the only one, but I want you to let in the idea that it's happening to you because you don't deserve it. I want you to get that because, I understand that. And I watch you say it's bigger than me, but you're the one being targeted. So it involves you. It's you. And I want you to understand you have a right, a human right, then a right to be who you are, a right to live, a right to breathe. And your womanhood should never be called into question, should never be degraded. Neither one of you, it should never be degraded. Like I was reading and they were saying about Nick, they were saying, he's an LGBT ally. And I'm like, okay, like, and what the what the press there was doing was they were kind of underlying saying, oh, if Startup Styler keeps going, they're going to bring all these gay people to our area. That was the big thing. That's what caught my attention, because it was like, oh, well, it was posted with all of these hashtags, and then the hashtags were removed. And it's like, well, it's not a secret that gay people, yes, we come with money. We come with money. There'll be beautiful flower boxes on the street, and the street will be clean, and the restaurants will thrive, and so, but they made it seem like it was such a bad idea. Oh, well, we don't want all these gay people in our town. And it just, I need you two to be safe.
I do believe that the person that wrote that article identifies part of the LGBTQA plus community, and I myself am an ally for the community, and I don't stand. I was telling someone recently, to ever attack someone, in general, but to attack someone for who they are, that's a different level of, is deplorable.
Yeah.
And that's where, in my opinion, I don't know why they would think that is a negative to bring people in that are part of the community. I don't see how that's a negative to bring people here in general. Like, I don't see how that's a negative. Yeah.
Okay. What are you guys going to do about your safety? That's a big concern to me. What are you, I need to know, because I need everybody to know. What are you going to do about your safety? Because you can't ignore it. It's getting, like, if you notice, it's getting worse. It's building.
So my company is getting private security.
Yep.
We have, and I'm talking about the trained professional kind.
Yep.
That's the beauty of being part of a foundation that is in 7 different countries and been around for 10 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, whenever you start threatening people, and it escalates to that level, I think it's important to have security, and we're not talking about like some dude off Craigslist. We're talking about highly trained people, former Green Beret, former Navy SEAL team. We're talking about people that were trained to kill people. So,
we're not doing that.
I mean, nobody's gonna die. Nobody's gonna die.
We understand. You can say that. He can say that, because my thing is, I understand what he means. He means that to approach a very real threat, there will be a very real response team. And if that response team is met with lethal force, it will be reciprocated with lethal force. I understand what he's saying. He's not trying to say that, they're going to kill people, but I understand what he's saying passionately, but he's letting them know, if you want to throw fire at us, we're going to fight fire with fire. And my thing is, that's not a bad message to put out, because, you have, like you said, you're telling me about all the young girls and the young people in this community. They need to know that they have someone that has a voice that can protect them, because that's the biggest thing. That's what drew me to you, Kristen, because I was so appalled at the idea that you, being a beautiful woman, had to worry about your safety. Like that was a huge concern for me. Because it was like, okay, nobody should ever have to do this. And they read, like, even the tablet again, it was like, oh, well, the person harassing her is just standing on the front stoop. Well, you're loitering on private property. Since when does the sheriff not come and arrest you for loitering?
And that's the thing is, they were leering into my windows too.
Yeah.
That's what I don't how you have any good intentions and you're also saying things as well. And that's the thing is they've attacked my boss as well. They've called him a rapist first, and I don't understand that. And they're just attacking the credibility as well, and they call in the slur words with the slur word, the F word, a whole bunch of the N word. I've had that written directed towards my boss on a slip of paper and put into my mail slot, calling him an uppity N word. And I mean, it's just, I don't understand this. It's again, I always say it's never been so hard to give away money, right. But it's so hard to help people.
You know what? I don't want you to stop, though. I'm glad that you are getting security, because literally, not even me. I'm at the point in my career, I can't go anywhere without security. I can't go anywhere without security. I can't. So, how I'll do it is because, security is expensive. So I'll turn around and I'll get up early in the morning and I'll go with someone to a store or things like that. But what I'm trying to avoid is kind of what I live, with my notoriety. I live in a bubble because I very much don't go many places. I interact and I do my work, but you guys have to go. You have to be at the schools. You have to be, in the community. You have to be. And it's just so terrible that the community that is what it is would not welcome someone like you just said, trying to help them and give away funding. It's like, oh, well, we can't trust your fund, because even in the tabloid, it was like, well, we don't know where this money came from. And I'm like, well, really, that's none of your business. It's none of your business where it came from. What you need to be worried about is whether or not you qualify for the initiative.
So I think that the reason why is the founder of the Courtney Jordan Foundation, Courtney Jordan, he's a person of color, and so I truly think that is I know that's why you have someone coming into town and we didn't do what you should do in a small town, I guess, and they kiss the ring, as they say, and bow to the lead, and we didn't do that because why?
Yeah.
Why should we?
Yeah, and that actually saved you. Not doing that saved you. Yeah, that saved you. Like, yeah, you don't, and what I understand and what I love about the powers that be is their time is coming to an end. Their time is coming to an end. It's unfortunate, and even I've had 16 years of being bullied from Hollywood. So I know what it's like to be bullied. And I mean, really bullied, to where I have to issue cease and desist letters and do all of these different things and hire people to, monitor what I do online. And so I know what it's like. And I know the PTSD that can result from it. And I know all of those things, but I also know that the time for that is coming to an end. So today, with us talking, this has been quite an informative conversation. I want to know, what do you want the world to know about Startup Styler and the prosperity initiatives and, what you're doing? Like, what do you want people to know about that and Styler? Because, young professionals, it's not just you guys. I've seen it on, home improvement channels and different things like that. They're like, oh, North Carolina is a hotbed for young youth, up and coming, young professionals. And, what do you guys continue, or what do you guys see going forward?
So with Startup Styler, we are continuing to do our entrepreneurship initiative, which is fostering entrepreneurship in the community to bring jobs and opportunities as well. But in addition, we're working with the local schools with local universities to bring opportunities to help kids have job opportunities outside of going to college when they graduate. Mm-hmm. We also have our Code Academy that we basically train them for 8 weeks, and at that end of that time that they will be ready to go. We place them with an employer, and this is all stuff that we've been working on, getting it up and going in this area. In addition, one of my main things is the lack of feminine hygiene products in this area, and also the lack of education as well to feminine hygiene and health. And so that is something that we're working with, as well as to provide resources and education opportunities, but also to provide an opportunity for the Prosperity North Carolina is to do our Women's Initiative Conference, which is to empower the young women, empower the young woman that on the TikTok, the young girl, empower her, empower others like her, that no, this is not your fate. This is not your fate, that you can get out of this, and we can get you out of there. And so we can give you opportunities and also hear stories from other women and what they've gone through and how that they've overcome, and just give them a different look. Because I think when you're in a bubble, it's hard to see outside of the bubble. And so that's what we're working on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just extremely excited about Prosperity North Carolina. I mean, it's turning into a powerhouse. I mean, we went from getting 4 people elected to now we're naturalizing 100 people a year. I mean, the sky's the limit at Prosperity, North Carolina, and I want people to know that we're here to do good, and we're going to help the community, and it's going to make everybody more prosperous. And I myself want to be an example to younger people, being 23, that, you know, I'm a very raw and real person. You know, it's not easy doing these things, but I know there's people that count on me, and I want to set an example that, you know, it's not all glitz, it's not all glamour. You know, sometimes I'm burning the midnight oil, and, you know, like yourself, you know, I mean, this is nothing new to you. You understand these things, but, you know, I want to be transparent so people know what it takes to be successful, so that way we can be examples to these people. And if I could change one person's life, you know, and they could want better for themselves, that's enough for me, you know. And so I'm very excited about the future, you know, and really, I mean, the next few coming months is going to be monumental. So I just want to, you know, thank you for having us on, and, you know, I'm excited, you know. I mean, hopefully we can stay in contact, and, you know, kind of go off each other, you know.
And I want to add to that is I really thank you for your advice as well and your wisdom, because what you said is, you know, you have to look out for yourself as well. And I think in that is, if you take care of yourself, you can take care of others too, right? It's always the oxygen mask analogy. Yeah. And so I do appreciate that, and the wisdom, and your advice really was helpful, and just your encouragement during that time, because again, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, because you know, I don't want to mess mentally, but I just saw your distress. I saw your distress, and there should have been no human being alive to make you feel the way I saw you feeling. That was deplorable. You know, we're using that word today, but that was deplorable. Nick, are you going to run for mayor again?
You know, I'm not sure yet. You know, I'm pretty busy right now with Prosperity, North Carolina. I'm not sure if I do decide to run. I'll make sure I let everybody know. But at this moment right now, I haven't really decided in regards to the political realm of things. I just kind of keep focused on helping people, and, you know, we'll see what happens.
Okay, very good answer. Very good answer. This has been quite an informative conversation. This was a tough one, because I know what it's like to be discriminated against. You know, even online, you know, there are people I every day, without fail. Doesn't matter how many times I block them. Doesn't matter how many times, you know. So I know what it's like, because you're strong. And, you know, then you can't take it anymore, and you address them, and you use every 4-letter word you can. And then, you know, and they still don't go away. And you block them some more, and then they make new accounts. And so I know what it's like. But just like I know, for me, the importance of this all is that we don't stop. The importance for us all is that we show minorities in positions of power, in positions of servitude to the community. And it doesn't matter what the big wigs think. It doesn't matter what they say. You know, we have to do this, because they're not down here. They're hidden up there. They're on the hill. We're down here. So as long as we're down here, we have a job to do. And I just want to commend both of you on the jobs that you are both doing, because they take a lot of balls. I'm just going to say that. Balls and guts. And, you know, you guys are really doing like a bang up job. I didn't know Siler City existed before you guys. And now I know Siler City, North Carolina exists. And that's the thing. And more people will know. And you're already winning. You're already winning. So it's like, you know, I'm so glad for the fact that you're going to get professional protection, because that's what that was heavy on my heart, you know, professional protection, and moving forward. And like you said, the next couple of months are going to be amazing. And I look forward to staying in contact so that I can report. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to report on what is going on and the monumental success that you guys are going to have, because I see it for you. I see when you don't cower to the bully no longer has power. It's just that simple. When you don't bend to the demands of the bully no longer has power. So then what does the bully do? He goes elsewhere, because with you, you're no longer afraid. And that's the thing. And, you know, it's sad, because one thing about these situations is the more and more they happen, the less afraid you become. I was in therapy this morning. I've had therapy for 16 years. And, we were talking about trauma and we were talking about PTSD. And, my therapist asked me, well, you have pain sometimes when you recount your story. And I said, yeah, I've always had pain. So I'm just used to it now. And she was like, oh, that's different. But I'm like, yeah, but I said, I always feel better once I've told it. I always feel better on the other side of it. And she said, well, that's true because, once you tell your story and you get through the pain, that healing is on the other side of what you're speaking. So it's the same for you guys. It's a shame that we have half of a nation. It's not just Siler City. It's no matter what your political party is. We have half of a nation that believes in the old ways. So we all have quite a fight on our hands, but it's a fight that we're more than capable of winning. Like, yeah, it's not a disparaging thing. Like, no, like we're going to kick ass. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to always do.
And I
Is
think,
anything? Yeah, go ahead, Kristen. I was going to ask if there was anything.
yeah, I was going to say is one of the things that I'm afraid of, honestly, is that, this man who harassed me and stalked me and continues to harass me is, he gets his buddies together, the clan and all that good stuff, and they rally together because, it's still clan country.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm and I hate to admit it, like I'm afraid of that because I'm afraid of that.
You should not have to contemplate your own death. That's a problem. So you're in your budget, like you said, you need an armed person with you, an armed guard at all times, at your house, at your job, at the grocery store, at everything. It needs, because, and this is the thing, I know people in different positions in life, in different walks of life, where they have to have protective presence everywhere they go. It's just something that we have to do because the work has to get done. The work will get done, but you need to get this work done and come out unscathed. So you just need presence. You need presence, protective presence everywhere you go. You shouldn't go anywhere. You shouldn't be caught anywhere without protective presence. And that will kind of help you to relax because you'll know always there will be someone always with you whom values your femininity, whom values your humanity, even with you, Nick, who values your masculinity, who values your family and your sister. That's what you do. Like, and I've learned that, I've learned that a lot, because I'm not your typical celebrity. I came outside of Hollywood. I wasn't interested. I was like, listen, they want too much from me. My whole life, I felt like I was giving up things to get things. So then I finally do all this therapy, 16 years, and I get back all of these pieces of me. And now, in order to do this, you have to give us this piece. In order to do this, you have to give us that piece. And I just decided I had no pieces to give. So I came on out here. I said, you know what, I'll just do what I do out here. And I've been very blessed that it's brought the whole world to my platform. But, and like you said, it will do the same for you. It will do the same for you, because anywhere that you shed light and love and prosperity, darkness cannot stay. But yeah, you guys need some presence. What the sheriff won't do, you guys got to handle yourselves. And my thing is, professionals are trained. They won't shoot unless they absolutely positively have to, but they know all the extra combat, they know all the extra combat and restraints, so they can do all of that.
Thank you. I was going to say, it's not the local sheriff. The local sheriff has been great. It's
Okay.
like the local police.
Okay.
I remember they even said when you receive messages with a noose around your neck, and they were like, "Oh, that's not a noose." And what did they say?
I mean, there was a picture that I received via text message. It was someone in clan, like a clan uniform, all white, and there was a African American puppet hanging in the background, and they said, "This is some unity I can get behind," referencing to the unity ticket. And when shown to, what's his name, Mike Wagner? Yeah, I'm throwing him out there. He's like, yeah, you can't. It's not really clan. he doesn't look like the clan memorabilia, and you can't tell if the puppet's, you know, white or black. I was like, why does it matter? Like that there's a clan person and there's someone being hung in the background. It shouldn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
I had to take a moment. You guys are like you guys are really facing a serious situation. Like it's really serious. Like I want people to understand that this is serious. This is really serious. We're talking about it and we're talking about all these positive initiatives. But like you said, it's still clan country. I just need both of you to definitely watch your backs, because that's the thing. Anytime, listen, anytime people of power, anytime, and I'm talking about you guys, anytime people in a position of power with resources decide to help minorities, it's always a problem. It's always a problem because, you know, they feel that minorities, we belong in our place. You know, we belong, you know, next to sugarcane and corn and barley and wheat, not seen as human beings. But this is why I do what I do, because I have to let them know, no, sweetheart, I belong right here. So, please.
I'm sorry, when you said something, it sparked something in my, when I got here, like last year, and I was told by someone in the community, a business owner, a property owner, that make sure that, because she was told this, that don't pay people a lot because it makes others look bad. That you can't pay people a lot. You got to keep them where they are. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not doing that. Like, why would I do that? Like, that's
I have a friend that works here in Salt City, and just for him being Hispanic, he was attacked by his boss. And, you know, she told him, go get a green card, you know, and he said, wow, that's racist. She said, no, that's American, you know, and that just volumes, you know, and I was taken back when I heard that.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you.
See, these things make me angry. These things make me angry. But, you know, anger is an emotion and is a valid emotion, and it is also one that we can't ignore. We have half of a nation that thinks like that. We have our work cut out for us. Yeah, we have our work cut out for us. Half of a nation believes just as that. Okay. All right. I'm gonna really be thinking about this. It's just, wow. I want to follow this story. I want to follow it. I want to know what's going on there. I want to know, because that's the thing. And I don't, and this is the thing, like with restraining orders, you get them so that you can create a paper trail, because like, and I'm just going to say this, because the idea of the restraining order to them is, oh, he's restrained, he can't come near you. Well, that's different to someone like me. The idea of the restraining order is, I told you, so when I whoop his ass unrecognizably, there's a paper trail that told you guys that he was doing this. So that's a little different to me. It's a little different to me. Like I have different agendas for, you know, I'm not going to take a piece of paper and throw it at him and say, you know, you can't come near me. You know, I currently, you know, just talking about myself, I currently have a 3-year restraining order against my own brother, because he just was so jealous of what I do and who I am and what I've amassed and gone to therapy, and I'm my own person, that my own brother tried to assassinate me this year. It was in March. And, you know, it's so crazy, but that was March. It's December now. We don't stop. We keep getting better and better and better, and doing and doing and doing. And that is what you two will do. And that is what I will do. Please tell, okay, so now I got to get you guys, because I always do this at the end of an interview. I'm going to start with you, Kristen. Please give me 3 words that inspire and empower you to be who you are, do what you do. Go.
3 words. So I'm gonna go, and I know this sounds, my Anma, because my grandmother has always been a pillar in my life, a woman, a very strong woman that worked during a time and like as an executive bank during a time when there were no women execs.
Yeah.
And she worked her butt off to get where she got, and people respected her. She took a lot of mess. She always said she did the same thing that men did, but she did it in heels. And that is one. I think community, because that's so important to remember that you're not just alone, that we're part of a bigger group.
Yeah.
And this can sound really cliche, but heart, because without heart, you're not going to get through the next day.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
It's give me 3 words that inspire and empower you.
Might be cliche, prosperity. You know, that's one of the reasons behind the name. I believe in that.
Yeah.
The biggest one's probably hope. You know, giving, and probably power as well. You know, like when I said, giving people their power back. You know, I want people to feel empowered. You know, I want them to have hope. I want to live in a prosperous community. You know, I mean, they all go hand in hand, and those are the things that I care about the most right now. I've never gotten that question before, so I like that. Thanks.
I end all of my conversations with that, because it just, you know, it gives me an opportunity to see inside what you value, you know, and it changes. You know, for me, my words are money, money, love, and authenticity. And that's just for today, you know? So that's why I do that, because they change, and it's okay. You never know what drives you, but I know that, and I said this in my, one of my videos that I do for social media, you know, money is just used to currency. It's to help people. It's to, you know, get people to grow. It's to help them grow. It's to give them the foundations they may not have had. It's to allow them to not have to worry while they're on the way, on their journey to becoming whatever they desire to be, you know, so it's a bridge. So I'm just so happy we had this conversation. And I really do pray that it won't be the last. And I pray that in the next coming months, the next 6 months to a year, we start to see more headway for your organizations, and also in your personal lives, and you're not having to worry about clan country and things like that. And, you know, it's so crazy, because I just want to add to that. I like, before I started doing this and it really got really massive, I was the type of person where I was like, oh, I don't want a gun. I don't do this. I don't want that. I don't want gun laws. And, you know, I don't believe in that. And this is that and the other. And after, now I'm just like, okay, I've got to go to the range. I've got to learn. You know, at the end of the day, what I'm summing up and saying is, we have to be the power that we put out into the world, which means we have to do the knowledge study. We have to learn. We have to become better. And it's always up to us. The burden of proof to show is always on us, because we're the good guys. So we have to let people know, like, listen, we're good guys. This is what you do. But I just, in the next couple of months, I'm really hoping and praying that things get better, and that larger outlets will also pick up what's going on in Siler, because the story that's going on in Siler right now is one that needs to be told to the entire nation, because it's just backwards. You know, it's just so backwards, that people will hold to traditions that no longer serve them. They're no longer valid. They're you know, better ways have been proven for business and love and commerce and community, but they want to hang on to it. Why? Because that's what we knew. No. So please tell everyone where we can find you both on social media, websites. I always do this at the end as well, so that we can all keep up with you.
So we have, mine is at Kristen Picot for Instagram, Twitter, and also at Startup Stylers, our initiative at the foundation, and that's on Twitter and Instagram as well. And
mine is Nick Gallardo NC. That's pretty much my username on all platforms. And then also you could follow Prosperity North Carolina on Instagram. And those are my only plugs.
Thank you so much for today. It was very informative, and it got me to thinking, there's a lot to be done, but we can do it. And it starts with conversations.
I agree. And I just want to say one last time is thank you so much for using your celebrity and your platform to help us get this story out, because, without you, we wouldn't have a voice. So.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard the vocal stylings of Miss Kristen Picot and Nick Gallardo, who we hope will run for mayor again. Say goodbye, but don't hang up.
Bye.
Yeah, you can say bye to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Okay, hold on.
So did you enjoy? I hope you did. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and don't forget to cash at me at the Queen of Shade. I am your favorite content creator, right? Right. You want to see more of this content, right? Right. Cash at me. I love you. Mwah.
I've got my black stilettos on. Don't you make me take them off. I'm assuming first position. Gonna show you I'm a boss. I've been given 60 seconds just to put my thing down. I'll have you wanting my stilettos by the time I turn around. Turn that TV down.